Remember in the previous video when I asked if you are the red player, which is the first player, and your pieces are on the second row, can you create the same effect as when the second player, which is yellow player, when they put it in the second row, they can win? Can the red player win as well? I would say not necessary and highly unlikely, especially if your first row is not the red piece, which is your piece, because if you have the red piece over here, then you will have one major threat on top of another major threat, which is considered a win. But you have a yellow piece over here which blocks the threat in the first place, so the threat is gone. And yes, you have a major threat here, all the way, but it does not mean that if you are the red player, which is the first player, you can win. Yeah, because as mentioned earlier, Connect 4 is a turn-based game, and turn-based game will mean that it's dependent on who goes first and the arrangement and the permutations itself that cause the general strategy of an endgame victory that goes at second, fourth, and sixth. They are a lot easier for a win when it's for the second player, which is the yellow, rather than the first one. So in the first one, to prove this point, let's just count a little bit, because the game has put in such a way where now the yellow player needs to move first. So let's say if I were to just go randomly put yellow over here, so we just count yellow, red, yellow, red, yellow, okay, then red, yellow, red, yellow, red, yellow, and now it's the red's turn. Now the red has to put either here or here or here, and when that happens, the yellow player, which is the opponent, has the opportunity to block the winning check in any one of them. Can you see? If you cannot see, let me just randomly put that for you. Okay, let's say here, just now I put here, right? Let's just randomly put over here. Okay, yellow, okay, red, and we go red, and because yellow wants to secure the sixth rank, so sixth row, so he puts over here instead. Red, yellow, red, yellow. Red player is forced to move it here, either one again, here or here. Red and yellow, following the endgame strategic rule, yellow at the sixth row, sorry. Red, yellow. So the red player has no choice but to end up blocking his own major threat itself, as you can see. So either way, you go red, yellow, and then of course you don't put the here because you get the yellow player to win, which is opponent. So you put red, another yellow, red, another yellow. So the red player cannot win if he were to put his pieces in the second, fourth, or sixth row. Preferably and recommended, if you are the first player who's the red player, you put your pieces in the first, third, and fifth row, and especially at the central part of it. Okay, yeah. I mean, if you don't believe me, you can go and try out on your own, and you can observe that this long-term thinking in where to position your pieces is actually quite important itself. Okay, so just to give you a summary again, right? Just to give you a summary, in general, if you are the first player, usually the red player, you want to put your pieces in the row at the third and fifth row, starting from the center itself, especially starting from the center. And if you are the second player, usually yellow, you want to ensure that your pieces are starting from the center again, second, fourth, and sixth row. Of course, these are just in general, and you cannot put all these rules like the absolute itself, because some of the situations may make it very exceptional. For instance, if your first row and your second row has one major trait on top of the other, then all these rules will fail, you see. What do I mean by that? Let me show you in the next video.